Let's get into this fucking wedding. Taylor Swift. Christ almighty. Here's what we're going to do. I've got an article here from the BBC. Our mates, the BBC. The BBC covered Taylor Swift's, ceremony, or what we know of it, at Madison Square Garden. And, we're going to read the article here and see, what can we learn from this? Okay, so let's pull up the article. Let's go down through this, shall we? Now, here you can see it. Let me get my screen up. So look, from a beautiful night to world's greatest hangover, guests react to Taylor and Travis's wedding. Now, again, folks, just remind me, you see this word here. Guests react. You see any of the Taylor Swift fans? The fans. The way you hear all these modern day musicians? They'll come out with some crap like the following. They'll say, there would be no Taylor Swift without the fans. There would be no Olivia Rodrigo without the fans. There would be no Shawn Mendes without the fans. The way you hear people come out with this fucking crap? Well, let's take them up on this. If the fans have truly built you, Taylor, if the fans have truly built you, if you didn't get your career propped up by outside money so that you could be the mouthpiece for an agenda, if it was really the fans that made you who you are, why would you not invite them as guests to your wedding? Why are you inviting a whole bunch of other people in the club? All the other actors and musicians and famous people in the world. Are you letting the cat out of the bag here, Taylor? Are you literally now just done with hiding the fact that it's not really about the fans? The fans didn't really make you who you were? Because, if the fans truly made you who you were, then why would you not invite them all to your wedding? If it's them who has funded your career, if it's them who have, made you who you are, well, should you not be giving them the inside scoop? No, that's not what Taylor does. No, she doesn't do that. She goes and invites a whole bunch of rich, wealthy Hollywood actors, musicians, fucking film directors, fuck knows who else. That's who she invites to her wedding. Not you! You see, you, the Taylor Swift fan, no, you don't get invited, even though you're being told that you are who made Taylor who she was. You've made her who she is. But no, you don't get invited. All right, well, that's interesting. Tells you where you sit on the priority list, doesn't it? Fan of Taylor Swift, take note. Okay, let's move down. Let's zoom in here. Make this easier to read. Now, let me just zoom out a wee bit from this. There we go. Let's pull this across. All right, so this article was done on the 6th of July, so a couple of days ago. Let's see. We're not going to read all this. Fuck me, we're definitely not going to read all this. So it says, let's go from the top here. We're going to go from up here. Follow me down. It's been 2 days since Taylor Swift's wedding, 4 days at the time of this show, to Travis Kelce. And some of their, folks, look at it. It's beautiful. Some of their superstar friends have started giving us tantalizing glimpses into what it was like. Are you a superstar friend of Taylor Swift? That's right, no. You're a peon fan. You're the one who slogs your arse around the world to get to her concert. And what do you get in return? Diddly squat. Nothing. You don't have the inside scoop on nothing. But her superstar friends do. Oh, that's right, but don't forget now, you, fan of Taylor Swift, you made Taylor who she is. Remember that. You had a critical role in her career. All right, so about 1,000 names. 1,000 names were reportedly on the guest list. Folks, were you on the guest list? Taylor Swift fans out there, answer, please. You don't have to answer publicly. Just answer the question silently in your own head. You see here, it says about 1,000 names were reportedly on the guest list. Taylor Swift fans, were you on the guest list? Did you get the inside scoop? And it says, including some of the biggest celebrities from music, Hollywood, and sport. Yeah, that sounds like you and I, doesn't it? That sounds like the average person. But don't forget, you had a critical role in making Taylor who she was. Always remember that. Now it continues. Details of the wedding had been a closely guarded secret, with guests assumed to be under instructions not to give away details or photos. The couple are also yet to release any photos from the event, so you, the fan, you're still being kept in limbo. Just as I'm sure you would want. I'm sure you're delighted with that, aren't you? You're delighted with the fact that Taylor's superstar friends get priority treatment over you. Do Taylor's superstar friends go to all of her concerts? Or is it you who travels around the world, hauling your arse around the world, going to her concerts? Who is it? Who buys her music? Do the superstar friends buy her music? Or is it you? Or stream her music nowadays, I suppose. I suppose you have your nice little subscription at Spotify. That's right. Different musical model now, folks. I forgot. Forgive me. Okay, now, as you will see, as you go down through this article, folks, you're going to see all of the big names. All the big names. Let's keep going down. There's Taylor, just married. There's Travis, but Jesus me. Travis and Taylor. We're going to come on to the nature of this relationship in a little bit. We love. Actress Jessica Alba was among those who didn't hold back from confirming her attendance. So Jessica Alba was there, folks. Very important. Very important person in the world. We've got different people. Breakfast show host James, whoever the fuck he is. Who knows who he is? Who cares? He was there as well. Actress and singer Suki Waterhouse posted a story on Sunday with the Francis Bacon quote, "I often work best with a hangover because my mind is crackling with energy and I can't think very clearly." See down here, we've got the actress and singer Susie Waterhouse, giving us a bit of Francis Bacon there, a bit of philosophical wisdom. There's Taylor and Travis again. Back up on the shared screen. Travis, yes, good old Travis, huh? So, we keep going down here. You've got other people. We've got an actor here, Severance actor Adam Scott, who posted a picture of himself with fellow actor Paul Rudd, along with the caption, TNT and 2 love hearts. Folks, don't forget. See down here. We've got Severance actor Adam Scott and his fellow actor Paul Rudd. They had this caption, TNT, and they had 2 love hearts. Again, the common folk were invited to Taylor's wedding in Madison Square Gardens, I'll have you know. Here we have another singer-songwriter, Jessica Betts. She was invited too. Fantastic stuff. Then we have music video director, Joseph Kahn. He was there too. He said it was like living in the internet. All these celebrities, left, right, and centre. And look, the mighty Steven Spielberg was there as well. Joseph Kahn got to meet his childhood hero. The GOAT, Steven Spielberg, he was there too. And let's just go down a wee bit more. Look at this, folks. Let's highlight this. Other A-list attendees. Are you an A-lister? Taylor Swift fan? Are you an A-lister? Remember, you funded her career, isn't that right? Isn't that what you've been told? You made Taylor who she is today? But you're not an A-lister. Sorry. All those years of dedication. All those years being a Swiftie. Do you get rewarded for it? The big day. The big day arrives, Taylor's wedding. The big day that every Swiftie has been waiting for. You've put in your work over the years. And do you get rewarded? Were you invited? Are you an A-list celebrity? That's right, no. You're a peon! And peons reside where peons reside. And you know where the peons reside? Outside the walls of the big club. Because what you are seeing here, let's have a look, folks. The other A-list attendees seen entering and leaving. The wedding included Selena Gomez, Camila Cabello, Hugh Grant, Gracie Abrams, Gigi Hadid, whoever the fuck that is, Bradley Cooper, Tom Hanks, Millie Bobby Brown, Ellie Goulding, Graham Norton, and Dakota Johnson. Folks, do you think all of those people that I have named so far, do you think they belong to the big club? Because, you see, if I had to wildly speculate once again, holy fuck, if I had to go into speculative mode here, I would speculate that everyone, you see, of these 1,000 attendees who were on this special guest list, which you were not on, Swiftie fan, you see those 1,000 attendees, my guess would be that they all belong to the big club. That would be my guess. And that's right, you don't belong to the big club. But here you are, buying concert tickets, being a good wee Swiftie. Well done. Okay, so that's enough of that, folks. Let's go back up to the top. Again, if you want to read this article in its entirety, there is where you can find it. BBC News. The only reason I wanted to go into this article was to make the point to you. I wanted to show you, in writing, who the BBC reportedly said was at this wedding ceremony. I wanted you to see it up on screen. I wanted to call out the names. I wanted to say from what domain they come from. Hollywood, sports, music, A-list celebrities. I wanted you to hear it all. But if you want to read the article, feel free. The BBC website is free and open. Global News. There's where you can find it. I don't want to take anybody's words out of context. Of course, I wouldn't want to do that. Not at all. So look, let us get our main screen back up. We have a lesson to extract from all of this. Okay, so let me tell you what I think about Taylor Swift's marriage to Travis Kelce. Folks, Taylor Swift's marriage is about as organic as her rise to superstardom. That's the best way I could describe this. If you have followed me thus far, if you've followed this show so far, the first 1 hour and 16 minutes, and you listened to everything I said in the first hour about how all of these young musicians in the modern age are getting themselves at the top of the musical dominance hierarchy despite only being good. They're not very good, they're not great, they are certainly not geniuses, so why are they at the top of the musical dominance hierarchy? If you've understood everything that I have said so far, then you will understand that Taylor Swift, we're speculating here, folks, of course. I'm a dipshit. Read the disclaimer. Speculation here. If we accept the fact that Taylor Swift is a good musician, not a very good musician, not a great musician, definitely not a genius, we then need to ask ourselves, why is she dominating the musical landscape? Well, the reason why is because she's part of the big club. And she gets her career funded. She gets the algorithms manipulated to her favour. She gets the streaming platforms manipulated to her favour. Social media manipulated to her favour. She gets artificially propped up. In other words, what am I saying? What I'm saying is Taylor Swift's rise to superstardom was not based on competency and talent. It wasn't based on great songwriting. It wasn't based on great vocal capabilities. It wasn't based on great live performing. No. In other words, it is artificial. It is not organic. Taylor Swift's rise to the top of the music industry obviously is not organic. You don't get a good musician dominating the musical landscape. Something's off. So it's not organic. And what I'm saying is her relationship to Travis Kelce is about as organic as her rise to the top of the musical dominance hierarchy. In other words, what am I saying? From my perspective, and I could be totally wrong, I'm just using my experience. I'm 31 years of age. I've talked to a lot of people in my life. I've read a lot of stuff. I've traveled around. So I'm just going to draw from my own experience. In my experience, there is nothing about this relationship between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce that is organic. It looks completely artificial. So, why do I say this? I say this because, number one, I know the track record of the person involved. Taylor Swift's rise to musical superstardom is artificial, in my view. So if I view her rise in her domain of speciality, in her speciality domain, if I view her rise in the musical arena as artificial, then that tells me something about her. It tells me that she is willing to sell out. She's willing to sell out. That's what you do. When you take your hand out from the big club, you're selling out. You're selling your soul to the big club. You don't own yourself anymore. The big club owns you. Your existence is now inextricably welded to the big club and to the people who fund your career. That is what we colloquially call selling your soul. So Taylor Swift, in my opinion, it's only my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm a dipshit and I could be wrong. But in my opinion, Taylor Swift's career, her musical career, is completely artificial. And she has taken a handout. She has had her career funded. And she then has been masquerading as an organic songwriting prodigy. In other words, she has been deceiving everyone. So I have a track record for this person. This person is giving me evidence from her past history that she is manipulative, deceptive, and a sellout. Okay, so whenever I'm shown that she's now married to Travis Kelce, the first thing I'm thinking is, well, if she has manipulated, deceived, and sold out before, she could do it again. Only now, we're changing domains. We're changing from the musical domain to the romantic domain. And as we all know, folks, celebrity relationships are profitable. I'm sure you all know this. Average Joe, you know Jane and Joe down in the local park, their relationship is not profitable because they are nobodies. Nobody gives a fuck who they are or what they do. Their relationship, Jane and Joe down in the local park, they can't really monetize or gain profit from their relationship. But if you are an A-list celebrity, one of the things you can do, if you are young or relatively young and attractive, which most of these people are, most people, most musicians, most actors, I know we're getting a little bit woke now in the modern age, but you know, generally speaking, folks, most actors and musicians are attractive. That's sort of a prerequisite. You need to have the image. If you're going to peddle someone's agenda, you need to be able to convince the peon public. And one way to convince the peon public is to be attractive, is to present yourself as a sort of cool individual, someone who's worth listening to. In order to be cool and worth listening to, you kind of need to be attractive. Physical attractiveness buys you credibility. Okay, so here's the thing. In the celebrity world, where you've got a whole bunch of attractive people, relationships can be extremely profitable if done correctly. And for me, when I look at Travis Kelce looks like a fucking prisoner in this relationship. That's just my opinion. He looks like he is, maybe a prisoner is the wrong word, but what I would say is he looks as though he is, let's just say he doesn't wear the trousers in the relationship. Let's just say it looks as if He has an incentive for getting involved in this relationship, and he's happy to play the role of a beta male, basically, for someone else's agenda. That is what it looks like to me. It looks completely artificial. These two do not look like an organic match whatsoever. Not at all. And Travis Kelce, I haven't really paid that much attention to him. I don't follow Taylor Swift that much. But you see, from what I have seen, he looks like he's playing the role of a subordinate beta male. That's what he looks like. He looks like he's taking the role of, yes, I'm subordinate to my wife, Taylor. I'm subordinate to my girlfriend, Taylor. Taylor wears the trousers in this household. Feminism all the way. Females can boss males around. Don't worry, folks. If you're a man in your relationship, it's okay for the woman to boss you around. It's okay for the woman to be the main breadwinner. You can be a beta. Happy days. You be a beta. That's what the message is to me. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like you're being sold a narrative from this couple. And it looks like an artificial narrative that has some agenda behind it. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Folks, whenever we see people who are fucking head over heels for one another, madly in love, I mean, we talk about this on the show, folks. There are unconscious body language cues that people give off when they are head over heels. And you see, the people who are head over heels, they cannot but help emit these signals. It's unavoidable. It's just, there are body language cues that people give up. Forget about the verbal shit. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to tell you. They're going to sell you using words. Oh, we love one another. They're going to use the love word. You know, they're going to say they love one another. They're going to say they are the perfect match for one another. They're going to try and use words to convince you to ignore your eyes. That's what they're going to do. This is what all of these fucking celebrity, not all of them, but a lot of them, a lot of these celebrity relationships, they tell you, like politicians, they tell you that they love one another. They tell you all the raunchy insider scoop details. They'll tell you a whole bunch of shit so that you literally ignore your own eyes. Folks, I'm not going to be sold on any garbage fucking talk from Travis Kelce or Taylor Swift. I'm not going to be sold on any narrative that they give me verbally. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch them. I'm going to watch them, see how their chemistry looks. And you see, in my experience, folks, I could be wrong. But to me, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are giving off body language cues, unspoken signals, which they cannot avoid giving off. This is the fucking laughable thing about it. This is why they tell you a whole bunch of shit, so that you avoid your eyes. You avoid using your eyes. They are giving off a fuck ton of unconscious physical cues that tell me that they aren't that into one another. In other words, they are giving off cues that this is a manufactured relationship, like a whole bunch of these Hollywood celebrity relationships are. And they are manufactured. Why? Because it's profitable. People buy the magazines. People read the articles. And Taylor and Travis, they're going to get a whole bunch of opportunities now thrown their direction because they are a couple, because they are a married couple. It's profitable. That's why. And it basically has an additional purpose. It has an additional function because it gets a whole bunch of the peon public distracted. A whole bunch of people, instead of looking after number one, getting their own life together, getting their own ducks in a row, a whole bunch of people are now spending a fuck ton of time, energy, and attention, literally consuming on their phones, hooked in the trap of social media, fucking scrolling up and down, looking at pictures of these billionaires And so they are distracted. So there will be a portion of the public, and that's a nice wee side effect, a nice wee side benefit of all this. There will be a portion of the public that are totally distracted by all this garbage. And then that section of the public can be further exploited by other people. So look, the relationship looks artificial to me. Why does it look artificial? Because I have seen people, and I myself have been in circumstances where I have been head over heels for someone. We've all been there, folks. We all know what it's like when you really have chemistry for someone and they have chemistry for you. And we've also observed other people in these circumstances. They give off certain body language cues. And if you use your eyes and don't get distracted by what people tell you, you can pick up these signals as well. That's what I'm picking up. And whenever I pair these two things together, what are the two things that I base my conclusions off? Number one, Taylor Swift has a track record of being deceptive, manipulative, and a sellout. That's what her entire musical career is. She's a good musician, yet somehow, how the fuck has a good musician made it to the top of the musical dominance hierarchy? The only reason you do that is if you sell out and you then deceive people and give them the illusion that you're something that you're not. Okay, so Taylor Swift has a track record of being deceptive and presenting herself as someone that she isn't. And she's clearly sold her soul. Big deal, right, okay. When I say big deal, what I mean is, the topic that we're talking about here isn't like a world-shattering topic. It's not going to change the world, but I do have evidence from her musical career that she's a sellout. So I know that she will take the check, basically. She will take the handout, is what I'm saying. She'll compromise herself in order to get, in this case, to the top of the musical dominance hierarchy. She will know that this fucking malarkey of Madison Square Garden, this wedding, Travis Kelce, she knows this is good for her career. She knows it's profitable. She knows it gets her back into the public limelight. She knows it's going to get a whole bunch of people talking about her. And as a result, when people start to talk about her, who knows? This is the perfect opportunity now for the algorithms and, the streaming platforms and elsewhere. This is the perfect opportunity now just to manipulate them and start pushing her music back onto the front of people's feeds again. Because she's already circulating in the news. So all you need to do is tinker with the algorithms and the streaming platforms. Boom! She's already in the news and now you're getting flooded with her music. In other words, this relationship is being used for profit. It's not a true romance. These two aren't head over heels. And Travis Kelce is playing his role. He's playing the role of being a good little minion. And I'm sure he will get handsomely rewarded for playing his role as a beta male who is subordinate to fucking Taylor Swift, his woman. Again, arse ways around. Like, who believes this crap, folks? Who believes this crap that a woman wears the trousers in a relationship? No woman wants a beta male. No woman. If a woman has her choice, now she may not be able to get what she wants in the marketplace, but if she had her choice, she would not want a beta male. Someone who fucking kisses her feet and is subordinate to her. That is deeply unattractive for a female. No female wants that. Yet here we are, we have Travis Kelce, who's supposed to be this fucking NFL player. Or whatever he does. American football. Is that NFL? Or whatever. Or AFL. I don't know what it's called. He's an American football player. So you're telling me that this big, 6'5", 6'6" American football player is a beta. And that Taylor Swift bosses him around. He's playing his role in this. He is there, in my opinion, to give this beta male message. Male subordinates to female message. Feminism is king message. He's playing his role in this. And he's basically worshipping Taylor Swift. Which is obviously excuse me folks, if you have any idea about human ancestral history and man-woman dynamics, obviously this is arse ways about. This is not how it goes in reality. But when you've got a manipulated, artificial relationship where both parties are basically actors, that's what they are. I see Travis Kelce as an actor. I see Taylor Swift as an actor. Two actors have come together and formed a relationship. And this relationship, because it's a celebrity relationship, is going to be profitable. They're both going to make money from this relationship. Okay. That's how I see it. Now, both of them are selling an agenda with this relationship. And the main agenda that they're selling is woman empowerment, woman wearing the trousers in the relationship. Travis Kelce is a beta male, subordinate to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the boss. Travis listens to Taylor and he worships her. All right. Feminism is king. You know, this idea of, the matriarchy is the king. The patriarchy is evil. She even says that in one of her songs. Fuck the patriarchy or something like that. So that's the message. It's a message of sort of woman empowerment, feminism. Taylor Swift, she is the kingpin here, the queen of, the music industry, and, she's dictating the terms of the relationship. She's the one in charge. She's leading the way, and Travis is just, being a good wee beta man and just letting Taylor do what Taylor does. This is the sort of bogus narrative that's been sold to the public. And then additionally, a secondary agenda at play here is this is just one big distraction. It's just a distraction. It distracts a certain portion of the population. And when that population or that portion of the population is distracted, they are easier to manipulate, control, and exploit. Okay, so those are the two main reasons, I would argue, why this relationship is happening. It is not organic, it is artificial, because it's profitable. It's going to help Taylor Swift's career. And it's also going to help Travis Kelce's career, because Travis Kelce gets the benefit from the Taylor Swift fan base. There's this mutual exchange happening. They're going to become a celebrity couple, and they are of course going to monetize that. They are going to get sponsorship deals. They are going to be invited to places that they previously would not have been invited to. There's going to be a whole bunch of subsequent benefits that they are going to gain from being a couple. Okay, so that's what I think about their marriage or relationship. A combination of having her track record and also using my eyes. I'm not listening to their words. I'm not listening to what Travis Kelce says. I'm not listening to what Taylor Swift says. They're going to fucking fill my head with a bogus narrative. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at their chemistry. I'm looking at how they interact. And they are giving me unconscious body language cues, this is the beauty of the human body, folks. They can't conceal them. So all they can do is try to use words to convince you not to use your eyes. That's the best they can do. Because if anyone watches Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, it's obviously a performative relationship. It's an artificial, performative, staged relationship. It's not even that deep of an insight to say that. Because everything about their interaction and their body language cues screams artificial and performative. In other words, they're actors that are getting together and they're going to create a business opportunity. They need to act out their roles in the relationship. They will get handsomely rewarded, and at the same time, they get to propagate the agenda of someone else who is paying them. All right, now here's where we're going to finish the show. Having said all of this, folks, and this may surprise you, do I have a problem with what Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are doing? So in my opinion, it's completely artificial. And it's a money-making operation. It's a relationship for profit, not for romance. Do I have a problem with this? Absolutely not. No problem at all. Folks, what you need to realize is there are always going to be people in the world who want to be consumers. And there's nothing we can do about this. We talk about this on the show all the time. You know the way we hear this notion of we need to wake up the masses. We need to make people realize what's happening in the world. We shouldn't be worshipping celebrities. We shouldn't be paying attention to Hollywood. We should know that there's a big club, blah. Folks, there are people in the world who are born to lose. There are people in the world who are born to consume. They will sit on their phone, completely succumb to their energy conservation mechanism, get hooked by the social media trap, and they will be as happy as pigs in shite to just spend their entire life consuming through their phone. There are loads of people out there like this. There is a very vast marketplace of mindless, autopilot, fudge brain consumers. And nothing that I say and nothing that you say will ever change their mind. There's lots of people that live on planet Earth, and there's a hefty, significant portion of those people that live on planet Earth that are basically brain dead, fudge brain, autopilot mode, happy to just waste their life in front of their phone screen as consumers. And again, there's no convincing them. You're not going to recruit them to do fucking diddly squat. They just want to consume and do that in their life. All right. That is how they want to use, if that's how they want to use their time, energy, and attention, no problem. And this is why fundamentally, even though you may be thinking that I'm criticizing Taylor Swift and I'm laying into her, I'm not doing any of that. I have no problem with what Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are doing, because they are simply, in my opinion, filling a demand that exists in the market. There are people in this world who just love to consume celebrity gossip. That there is a demand in the market for this crap. Now, I'm not a part of that group, and perhaps you're not, but that doesn't mean that group doesn't exist. It does. There are a whole bunch of mindless consumers. All they want to do is literally gobble up celebrity slop, celebrity gossip, like Taylor and Travis's wedding. And they will literally spend their waking hours following what they're doing, do they have a kid? What outfit are they wearing at this red carpet event? What's the latest song? Did they appear on stage together? People will just consume their content. So, as far as I'm concerned, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, sure, if you want to say they're deceptive, they're manipulative, we've talked about this on the show before, folks. I'm manipulative. I'm deceptive. That's not me throwing shade at Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce. I manipulate people. I deceive people. All the time. Now, I don't throw them onto the bus. I don't stab them in the back. But folks, communication is manipulation. I'm manipulating you, or I'm trying to manipulate you right now on this stream. You might say, well, what do you mean you're manipulating me? Well, what am I trying to do? Why do you think I'm on Bandido Talks? Why am I on Rumble? Why am I on YouTube? Why do I do live shows? I'm trying to capture your time, energy, and attention. In other words, I'm trying to manipulate you into watching my show. Now, is manipulation inherently evil? Or is deception inherently evil? Not inherently evil, because I feel like I'm giving you something. Yes, I'm manipulating you to watch the show, but I feel like I'm giving you useful information. So I feel like there's a bi-directional flow of benefit. I feel like there's mutual benefit. I'm getting your view, I'm getting your attendance at the live show or the live show replay, I'm getting your subscription, I'm getting your like, and in return, you're hopefully getting some useful information. But folks, be under no illusions. I am trying to manipulate. Anytime we open our mouths, folks, to speak, communication is manipulation. Why are you talking to someone? Why do we talk to people? We talk to people because we want to tell them stuff. We want to communicate something to them. Why are we looking to communicate something to them? Because we want them to see the world in a certain way. Like, why else do you communicate? You want people to see the world in a certain way that's beneficial to ourselves. Why do you form a friendship? Why do you form a romantic relationship? Why do you form a business relationship? Why do you hang out with your family? Why do you talk with all of these people? Business partners, romantic partners, friends, family members. Why do you talk to these people? You're talking because you're trying to maximize your existence here on earth. You're trying to communicate with them so that in some way you're going to extract benefit out of the relationship, Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a relationship with them if you weren't extracting benefit. What do we call that? Well, it's a form of manipulation. It's just we demonize that word. We say manipulation's a bad thing. We say extracting from people is a bad thing. Folks, it's only a bad thing if you're throwing people onto the bus and stabbing them in the back. Yes, now you've went too far, because when you throw people onto the bus and you basically scam them, well, that's different. That's not a bi-directional flow of benefit. That's a unidirectional flow of benefit away from them towards you, and you've screwed them over in the process. You don't want to do that. We talk about this all the time. If you start screwing people over in life and throwing them onto the bus, what happens? You get a reputation for being a piece of shit. And once you have a reputation for being a piece of shit, people don't want to associate with you anymore. So you start to lose out on more future interactions. But that doesn't mean you can't manipulate people. That doesn't mean that there isn't a time and place for strategic deception. Deception, what is deception? Deception is simply not telling the full, raw, unfiltered truth. Do I deceive people from time to time? Yeah. I'm not going to go around, folks, fucking telling everyone the raw, unfiltered thoughts that come into my head because I think they're the truth. That's only going to piss people off. If I start telling people what I honestly think of them, I ain't going to have too many fucking interactions in this life. You have to play the game of life strategically. There's a time and place for honesty. There's a time and place for omission of the truth. What is the omission of the truth? Well, that's deception. If you decide to omit a part of the truth, you don't even have to tell an outright lie. If you just omit a part of the truth, you're being deceptive. And that's not an inherently bad thing, because circumstances might call for you to do that. So manipulation and deception aren't inherently bad. It only becomes a problem when you start fucking people over and screwing them over. And instead of having bi-directional flows of benefit, where the person's benefiting and you're benefiting, whenever you start to just scam people and you get all the benefit and they don't, well, that's going to create a problem. It goes without saying. So look, do I think Taylor Swift is scamming anyone? Well, what did I just say? There's a marketplace out there of mindless consumers. All they want to do with their life is sit on their phone, sit on their laptop, and consume celebrity gossip. If there was no more celebrity gossip in this world, their life would become a notch or two more miserable. So there are people out there who like celebrity gossip. So is Taylor Swift, even if her relationship is artificial, which I think it is, and I think it's a profitable transaction, it's a profitable interaction, not a romance. Even if it is that, does that make Taylor Swift a bad person? Does that make Travis Kelce a bad person? Not in and of itself. They're just fulfilling market demand. People like this shit. I don't particularly like it. I'm covering it on the show today because it makes an interesting topic of discussion. And we're all trying to learn something here while I'm on the live stream talking. But is she scamming people? Does it make her a bad person? Does it make Travis a bad person? Are they, should they be viewed as, despicable people? No. The market wants it. Folks, people, we all know people who just sit on their phones and consume this crap. Well, that's their decision. They're deciding to do that. They are creating the demand for this type of crap. If people stopped watching this, you wouldn't find so many celebrity relationships that are set up to be profitable. But people love it. People want it. It's what makes their life, it's what makes their little world spin on its own axis. It's what gives them some fucking purpose in life. Everyone has their own little things that they like to do. There are people in the world that like to consume. Fucking, the royals. Prince William, Prince Harry, Taylor Swift, celebrity weddings, celebrity gossip. There's a big portion of the population that loves this stuff. So all that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are doing are satisfying the market's demand. No problem with that. I don't see them as scamming anyone in and of itself. These people aren't being scammed. They want the gossip. They are willingly dedicating their time and energy to consuming it. That's not being scammed. The people on the receiving end of this content are getting exactly what they want, the gossip. So, folks, that's what I would finish by saying. No matter what you think about Taylor Swift and her ascent to the top of the music industry, you know what I think about it. And no matter what you think about the nature of her relationship with Travis Kelce, you know what I think about that also. Fundamentally, folks, I don't have a problem with the relationship. If they want to act out, in my opinion, I think they're acting out this relationship. If they want to do that and, provide a whole bunch of gossip, they get the benefit, obviously. Their names are going to be in the news. Taylor Swift's music is going to benefit from this. And Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift together as a couple are going to get a whole bunch of additional opportunities made available to them that they wouldn't previously have got access to. Okay. So they benefit and the consumers benefit because they get their celebrity gossip schlop news. Again, I'm not one of these people, folks, who thinks that, we have to go out and save the world. We have to wake up the masses and make them realize that Hollywood is, an evil industry and that, the musicians of this world, like Taylor Swift, they're just manipulating the masses and, selling them a whole bunch of distracting garbage. Oh, and the agenda, Travis Kelce, he's being a beta male and, he's worshipping Taylor and Taylor wears the trousers in the relationship. I don't give a shit about any of that. I'm not here to convince people not to consume this crap. If they want to consume it, they can consume it. They are creating the demand for it. And Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they are simply meeting the market demand. No problem. In fact, I would argue we could all learn a thing or two. Actually, I think we could all learn a thing or two from Travis and Taylor. If there are people out there, folks, that want a certain type of content, a certain type of service, a certain type of product, if you are servicing the market and you are meeting market demand, this is what we talked about a few episodes back with the poison seller. Remember the Canadian poison seller, Kenneth Law? We did a live show on him a few episodes back. There's a market for people who want to kill themselves. There are some people, the way their personalities are wired, the way their life circumstances are, there are people who want to kill themselves. And whether Kenneth Law exists or not, Kenneth Law is the Canadian poison seller. He was selling toxic substances to people who wanted to commit suicide. If Kenneth Law exists or not, it doesn't matter. There are some people who are just going to want to kill themselves. And whether they get their fucking drugs, their toxic drugs from Kenneth Law, or they go and acquire them themselves, they're going to go find a way. There's a market for it. I'm not saying it's right. I wouldn't do what Kenneth Law does. I don't advocate that other people do what he does, or what he did, because he's going to prison now. But the point is, there is a whole market out there. There's a market out there of suicidal people. And there's nothing that you or I are going to say to them that's going to change their mind about it, in all probability. If someone wants to kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves. If Kenneth Law exists or not, they're going to find a way to do it. Folks, you don't need drugs to kill yourself. You do realize that. You can just go, jump out your front window. You can go jump off a bridge. You can take a knife or a sharp object and just slit your own throat. You can take a gun and blow your own brains out. People who want to commit suicide, there are any number of ways that you could kill yourself. And there is a market out there. There are people out there that want to kill themselves. As bizarre as that is to me. We did the show on it. Go watch the show. You'll find out what my thoughts are on the whole thing. But again, it's the same thing here. Just like there's a market of suicidal people, I know that you might think that's bizarre and unusual, and I'm not saying that it's a big market, but the market does exist. There are people out there who are just, their personality predisposes them to depression, to depressive thoughts, to anxiety, to fucking, emotional instability. And all you have to do is bring in some environmental things that are happening in the world, and before you know it, they all want to kill themselves. There is a portion of the population that wants to do that. It's the same thing here. There's a portion of the population that wants to spend their lives on their phones consuming celebrity slop gossip and content. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they are just providing the content for these people. If Travis and Taylor didn't do it, someone else would do it. So if you're Travis and Taylor, you may as well cash in. You may as well just take advantage of it. I'm not saying I would do it. Don't mistake me. I'm not saying I would do it. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and take the fucking moral high ground and make it out as if what they're doing is somehow morally corrupted in some way. No. There's a demand there. They're giving the people what they want. Such is life. And I think, as I said earlier, we could learn a thing or two if there is a section of the population that wants a service, wants a product, wants a piece of content. I mean, if that exists in the market, you can't criticize people in and of itself for giving the market what it wants, essentially. So look, that is what I think about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.